Meet Charlotte. She wakes up one night in a dark mansion without any means of escape. Windows are closed, doors are closed, and she remembers a few days later that she played this game. This scenario is all about a horror game that she used to play in another life, but she never finished the game. That she is now transmigrated into an NPC, non-playable character called Charlotte. The issue is that this mansion is no ordinary place. It's the Lingberg Mansion, which is a haunted mansion full of horrors where the protagonist, Dietrich, needs to find a key in a room of truth. And the only way he could find that is if he finds a fragment on each level of each floor of the mansion. Nights pass and Charlotte realizes more and more that the game controls her will and the way she can travel or go from one place to the other. Until one night, the doorbell rang and it's Dietrich at the door. This is the start of I'm trapped with the horror game's male lead, or I'm imprisoned with the horror game male lead, webtoon/manhwa. Love, like, or leave. This is a segment where I give you a quick summary of a series that I've started, no spoilers. Then I go into a little bit of spoiler summary, give you the cons and the pros so far, and if I'm loving the series, liking the series, or if I'm gonna leave it. Let me know in the comments if you have started this, and stop here if you don't want any spoilers at all. It's minimum, but still spoilers. This story has blood, violence, horror, and romance. So if any of those are not to your liking, please tread lightly or avoid. Dietrich is a male protagonist. He comes confused since it's the first time he enters this mansion, and even Charlotte starts off calling his name, which leads him to actually enter in the mansion, which starts the game. As Charlotte has not much will or is limited in will when it comes to certain situations, instantly the games take control of her and makes her say things that are not even consciously she can remember saying or controlling at times. You can detect that with the red eyes versus the blue eyes if you ever get confused and start reading this manga. This is also an Isekai type of story, which means that the main protagonist or some of the characters have transmigrated from another life into this story. So she knows knowledge of the game because she played it in another life. And she talks about that in the story. And if you never read one of those, it's very common in a lot of webtoons and manhwa. As she knows that she is in a game, she tries her best within the system game settings to help Dietrich without getting too much in trouble, but sometimes she fails. Dietrich is very suspicious of Charlotte, but as they spend more and more time together in the mansion, he goes a little attached to her more and more, to the fact that it's starting to lean into thinking that he might not want to leave without her or want to leave with her for revenge. He has mentioned talk of revenge, but it could be some Stockholm syndrome mixed in between. You know, that's stuck there. Cons. The horror aspect in this manhwa is not what I was expecting. Honestly, I almost didn't read it seeing it was horror, and I do not like so much horror since I like to sleep at night. But this is more of an amnesia type horror because of even a factor that's called darkness, which is similar to the sanity in amnesia. When you lose your sanity, when you see events, Dietrich can get more percentage of darkness, and if he gets the maximum, he loses complete sanity. So it's similar to that, so I guess that links it to horror. But I've seen more blood and violence and tyrant manhwa, tyrant romance, or emperor like going to war manhwa than this one so far. Yes, there's blood, but it's a lot of it skipped over or move along really quick to go back into moving into the male protagonist / female protagonist dynamic and their relationship and the relationship with the game system more than seeing what's happening in the game. I feel like it's very rushed. That is not negative, since I don't like horror, but it would be negative, I think, if someone is looking for that horror aspect. But again, it's very early in the chapters. This is not even 20 chapters of what I've read yet, so it could change. This brings us to the next con, is the character's motive. Besides them both wanting to leave the mansion, some of their actions are unclear to me. And I know you're gonna say, of course, in movies or in shows, you don't always agree with how the characters make decisions. Books as well. Of course. But I feel like you can understand it. There's explanation. But since Dietrich past so far is very mysterious, it seems like there's some mental abuse in there and mistreatment. And Charlotte, same. They found like similarities in that without even sharing it between them. It just feels like between each other, since at least one is suspicious of the next, why is one protecting the other? Like, there's certain things that are like, okay, he's a male protagonist, he's gonna go by default good, but even he says like, no, I don't trust you, I need to go my own way, but still comes back to like feel a sort of way to the female protagonist, who honestly is helping him only to get out, basically, because she's like, I need to help him because his survival and his leaving this mansion status will help her finally leave. And even then, it's a maybe, because as she's a non-playable character, I feel like those things haven't been dived into yet. But again, it's the beginning, but they keep giving me like morsels, and I'm like, I want to know more. DJ sees that Charlotte betrays him and doesn't realize that this is a game, yet still trusts her. So I guess that's what gives me a con to make sense of that. But it could be explained later. Maybe. Honestly, all this could be both of them getting Stockholm Syndrome because they are the only humans so far in this mansion and everything can kill them. Pros. On the flip side, I do enjoy that the characters do not have instant love or instant connection, that there is this suspicion and there is this, okay, let me try to gain his favor, let me do this, and it's kind of obvious to the opposite protagonist that it's more than what meets the eye. It's reflection, because a lot of times it's like, oh, I'm just in love with you first sight, and it's like, okay, and everyone just goes along with it. This one is like, I'm suspicious of you, but I'm keeping you close because you're here with my interests, and vice versa. What's also good, Charlotte is just not keeping things in to be a complex or create drama. It's because the game is stopping her, or the game interferes, or if she does this or does that, there's game penalties that can happen. And I like that she sometimes make choices that, you know, without even knowing it's a penalty, she gets caught. And I feel like that gives the story more depth. The next part is the originality and the premise of the story. I really enjoy that it's in a horror game, and that's the first time I read a story of this kind. I've seen otome games, dating games, and mostly it is that romance aspect. This time it's like a horror game, and the person who got isekai'd into the story has no clue how to end the game. And yes, that has happened in other stories, but this person is like, hey, I can't end the game, and it's a horror story where I might die or worse, be stuck there forever as she were before Dietrich arrived. So to me, it has that other level of, okay, how is this gonna go? Because I like the solo leveling aspect of it, of, hey, here's your power ups, you have a status bar, etc. It's very much, solo leveling is based on gaming. It's very much based on a game, and I like that it goes that throughout the story. They don't forget that, and they even remind her of getting penalties last minute without knowing, and she suffers for it sometimes, or surprisingly gets bonuses. Thanks to the set of game and her being trapped there for so long, she knows the settings with the map, she knows where to find food, she knows where to find healing potions, and she can help Dietrich get to both of their goals of maybe leaving this mansion. And I like that aspect of her helping him, healing him. It gives a valid reason for the maybe Stockholm Syndrome that's happening. Even though he is suspicious of her, he has to rely on her if he wants to live. There's a lot of mystery, but it's enjoyable to read and beautiful to watch, and it's interesting. I really do enjoy it. So, do I like it? Do I love it? Or am I leaving it? I would say I'm loving it. I know it's still early. It's only a few chapters in, but I really like how they're leading me on and keeping me captivated by not knowing the past of these two, not knowing why, when, or what they're gonna do if they can escape, and of the rooms. That's the thing. I think they're gonna show more and more horror, more and more styles, and that might get me oh no, can't read it. But so far, since the horror is brief and it's more in the aftermath, the healing of Dietrich or the healing of Charlotte, I feel so far so good, and I look forward to see how the relationship goes on, especially since I think Dietrich is gonna be in love before Charlotte is. I really do think he's gonna learn something, know something, and be like, I want to be with her. So it's either gonna end up that he's not gonna want to leave the mansion, or is that he's gonna take her away no matter what. And I don't know what that means, knowing that they have the game settings and his choices or she not being able to follow certain of the choices that he has to make does lead to Charlotte losing control or penalties towards her. So it's a dynamic that's gonna be interesting to watch for sure. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but that was maybe manga, manhwa, and anime. Thank you for watching until now, and see you on the next video. Bye.